and I'm a pilot here at the Kentucky Air National Guard. I'm United States Air Force C-130 pilot, and I've been involved with Thunder over Louisville in some capacity for almost 20 years, but I've been really involved with kind of directing the military side of the air show. 2021, we've basically been able to extend the contracts of all the civilian aircraft that we're planning to perform here. So that includes Greg Collier's T-33, Ace Maker, which is one of the premier jet demonstration teams. We've got Matt Yonkin in his Twin Beach, which is always an outstanding air act. We should have Lee Leet back with his Super Tucano demonstration, which has become, Lee is a Louisville local, and that's become one of the premier single ship aerobatic demonstrations in the country. Aside from that, we'll have a group called Team KC, which is a large formation group of RV aircraft made up mostly of retired military pilots who fly the aircraft in a large formation with multiple elements that oppose one another, and there's lots of color, lots of colored smoke, so they do a really neat job. And then lastly, we've got another small RV aircraft called Wild Blue with a plan to do a tribute to first responders, so our EMTs, firefighters, and our police. So just kind of trying to give those guys some love, because during the Thunder over Louisville Air Show, a lot of times we kind of recognize our military and want to make sure that we're reaching out and showing support for those other first responders, our EMTs, fire, and police, of course. Requires a tremendous amount of coordination with our local regional airport authority and with one of the show's primary sponsors, UPS Airlines. As many people are well aware, UPS has its primary airlift hub here in Louisville at the UPS Worldport. So UPS operations don't stop on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday when we're in the midst of working on our air show. So being that they are, of course, a sponsor, they're well read into what we're doing, and without the support of them or without the support of the Louisville Regional Airport Authority, there's no way we can make this happen. So we coordinate well in advance, months in advance, what we're looking at, how we plan on utilizing the airspace for Thunder, because it's not just the air show that's going on. Lots of times, while the Thunder over Louisville Air Show is occurring, there are multiple military aircraft that are in the surrounding airspace that are taking care of training. When we bring aircraft in for Thunder over Louisville, they're not just here to do a flyby. We have them execute training so that we're really being good stewards of those taxpayer dollars. We're executing our outreach mission, we're executing training missions, and sometimes they're executing real world missions that have the air show or the flyby tagged onto it. So we really do try to be very responsible about how we participate in these community events. But it is so important for us to participate in these community events, because these are kind of how air shows are kind of how the United States military has an opportunity to interface with the general public. In the Air National Guard, we're in the community, but for the active duty, that's not the case. And it's so important for the people of the United States to know and understand what the role and capabilities of her military are. And air shows are just a small way we can do that. The size of the air show is really determined by the operations tempo as well as the federal budget. The operations tempo, for example, in 2003, the air show occurred shortly after the invasion of Iraq, and that kind of caused the air show to have to draw down a little bit. In times when operations are in a little bit more of a steady state, the United States military is going to give us a little more flexibility on where we can train and how we can train. And air shows become an outstanding opportunity for our crews to get on the road, to interact with the public, but not just the public, with other airframes. So it's a good opportunity for our fighter aircraft to receive aerial refueling training. It's a good opportunity for our helicopter crews to maybe practice water infiltration or exfiltration in the river. And those opportunities are the ones that we really try and seize on during Thunder over Louisville. Most air shows are done over runways. Thunder over Louisville is, of course, done over the river, and it's done at a kind of challenging spot in the river where the river's turned, and we've got multiple bridges out there. Now, the construction of those bridges a few years ago kind of limited what we could do in regard to our aerobatic box, bringing high energy aircraft in and having them be in aerobatic conditions or in aerobatic states. That is rectified at this time with the completion of the construction of those bridges. We've got a layout that basically runs from where the 2nd Street or Clark Memorial Bridge is down to the K&I Railway Bridge. So that's approximately 1 mile in length, and it's approximately 3,000 foot wide. And within that box, aircraft are able to execute aerobatic maneuvers, aileron rolls, loops. They can work in the vertical and really kind of show off the aircraft capability and power. Not that you're not seeing that when it's going 0.98 Mach in a flyby, pushing the speed of sound. But it's one thing we haven't seen in the last few years is, that look where we've got our supersonic capable aircraft basically pulling 90 degrees nose high and accelerating, going straight up. That's something that, we've missed out on a little bit, and we finally are going to be able to get that back the next time we are able to put an air show on in our downtown Louisville. Several years ago, actually during sequestration, we reached out to some of our NATO allies to see if we could get them to come in while their defense budgets weren't under sequestration. We got crews from Germany that year, as well as Cold Lake, Canada. So the Germany crew was actually in the midst of executing a real-world mission, moving equipment to Holloman Air Force Base in New Mexico, where the German Air Force actually does some training. The Royal Canadian Air Force tied it in with a normal training mission, and they were able to send us some military aircraft. So as it were, those folks found out that it's a pretty darn good time here, and they've continued to come back